So the NBA Finals just wrapped up a few days ago, and it's pretty clear how this series is going to be remembered in the years to come. It'll be known as a series where Stephen Curry torched the best defense in the NBA for 31 points a night and the Finals MVP to carry the Dubs to their fourth championship in 8 years. While Steph deserves all the praise in the world because what I just said about him is without a doubt true, it reminds me that every championship takes so much more than one player carrying the entire load. Each championship run has an unsung hero who is crucial to their team winning, but doesn't get properly acknowledged as the years go on. So today, we're going to give flowers to the ones who didn't receive enough of them and take a look at some of the greatest Robin performances in NBA Finals history. Starting with the freshest one that just wrapped up, Andrew Wiggins was absolutely huge throughout the entire 2022 NBA Finals. For starters, he had Jason Tatum in hell, holding him to under 40% shooting in 4 of the 6 games in this series. But it's not even just the low shooting percentage that was so impressive. When watching these games, you can see that Tatum's completely out of rhythm whenever Wiggins was checking him, which led to him averaging nearly 4 turnovers a game. On top of his stellar defense, Wiggins found other ways to make sure his presence was felt as the second best player on Golden State throughout the finals. After falling down 2-1, Golden State was on the ropes in Game 4 as Boston was killing them on the glass. In addition to Curry exploding for 43, Wiggins pulled in a career-high 16 rebounds to help even up the series. Over the course of his 8-year career, he pulled in more than 10 rebounds just 3 times. So for him to become an absolute glass cleaner during the biggest moments of his career showed how badly he wanted this championship. In the following Game 5, Curry had the worst shooting performance of his playoff career, going 0 for 9 from three-point land. Despite that, the Warriors still won by double digits because of who else but Andrew Wiggins. With stats clearly not looking his best, Wiggins put up a massive 26 points and 13 rebounds to lead the way for the Warriors in a game where their primary option just simply didn't have it. Most teams would fold over in a situation like this, but Wiggins once again showed he was willing to do whatever it took for his team to win the title. Whether it was scoring, rebounding, or defending, Andrew Wiggins showed the world that he was no longer an empty stats player with no motor. His versatility ended up being a key factor in Golden State prolonging their dynasty. The 2016 NBA Finals were nothing short of iconic, and Kyrie Irving was a major reason for that. While LeBron was by far the best and most important player in this series, he needed all the help he could get from his teammates in order to take down the 73-win juggernaut that was Golden State. And boy did Kyrie deliver. Everybody remembers him for hitting the championship-winning shot in Game 7, but his overall performance throughout the entire series doesn't get nearly enough credit as it should. During this series, he averaged 27 points a game, which is the highest scoring average of any player ever who won the championship and didn't win Finals MVP. The fact that he was a secondary option putting up these kinds of numbers was just absurd, but that doesn't tell the whole story of just how spectacular he was during this series. In Game 5, facing a 3-1 deficit on the road, Kyrie and LeBron became the first pair of teammates to score 40+ in the same Finals game. LeBron was spectacular, but Kyrie shot 71% from the field in this game. What's even crazier about that is 14 of his 17 field goals came unassisted, as he was just breaking down any Warriors defender that was in front of him. And after briefly falling behind by 8 points in Game 7, Kyrie took it upon himself to get the Cavs back into the game with a huge third quarter, which set the stage for 2 of the most iconic moments in NBA history. I know Kyrie gets a lot of heat these days for not amounting to much since he left LeBron and the Cavs in 2017, but his performance in 2016 is literally one of the greatest of all time in terms of shot creation. There was no way to scout or game plan for him, as his unparalleled skills were simply too much for anyone on Golden State to contain, which is a huge part of why the Cavs did the unthinkable in 2016. We've all heard the noise the last couple of weeks about how Stephen Curry was doubled 7 times as much as Kevin Durant in the NBA Finals, which is what led to Durant winning both Finals MVP awards over him. No matter how you want to spin it, it's hard to justify Curry earning either award over Durant when looking at the numbers, but Steph definitely delivered despite all the extra defensive attention thrown his way. During their first trip to the Finals as a duo in 2017, KD had one of the greatest Finals performances you will ever see, averaging 35, 8, and 5 on almost 50-50-90 splits. There's just no way you don't win the award when you're playing at that high of a level. But 2 things can be true at the same time. Did Durant deserve MVP? Yes, but Stephen Curry still played out of his mind himself and truly had an incredible all-around series that many people often forget since he didn't win the Finals MVP. While KD was leading the way for Golden State, Curry averaged a quiet 27 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists per game on solid efficiency to put the Cavs away in 5 games. He out-rebounded Tristan Thompson, recorded more assists than Draymond Green, and also led all players in steals per game. To help put things into perspective, in 2007, Tony Parker put up a performance worthy of Finals MVP while averaging less points, rebounds, and assists than Steph did in 2017. His numbers were comfortably good enough to take home the award in most circumstances. It just so happened that Steph's teammate had an all-time great series alongside him. This series is really interesting to look at because hindsight really may have changed how this award was given out. In the 2008 finals, Paul Pierce infamously left Game 1 in a wheelchair for allegedly spraining his knee. But the narrative at the time was that he was fighting through a legit knee injury during this series while putting up some really solid numbers to help lead the Celtics to their 17th championship. Looking back and watching the series, I'm beginning to lean more and more towards thinking that Ray Allen was the one who actually deserved the award over the truth. Pierce definitely showed up during the series, averaging 21, 4, and 6 while shooting nearly 40% from 3. But Ray Allen averaged 20 himself while shooting 50% from both the field and 3, which is truly incredible. I know plenty of people will be quick to say that Ray needed to get set up by his teammates in order to succeed as the catch-and-shoot player that he was later in his career, but he was far from that in 2008. The ball was still in his hands plenty, and he was putting it on the floor and creating his own shot more than you might remember. On top of this, he was the primary defender on Kobe Bryant during this series, and he did a great job holding him in check. Whether or not you think Ray truly deserved the MVP or not is up to you, but I think more people should really talk about how great he was during this series and not focus entirely on the Paul Pierce wheelchair fiasco from this finals. The 2005 finals saw the Spurs win in 7 games against the Detroit Pistons in a defensive battle for the ages. Tim Duncan was named Finals MVP for averaging 20 and 14 to lead the way for San Antonio, but they absolutely would not have gotten it done without Manu Ginobili, who was the only player that the Detroit defense couldn't seem to figure out. While Manu's stats may not initially look like anything crazy, some context is required to understand just how impactful he was during this series. Over the course of these 7 games, the Spurs and Pistons averaged just 84 and 86 points a night, as the pace was incredibly slow during the early 2000s. On top of the historically slow pace, both of these teams were incredible defensively, as they both made sure that the other side had to work for every single bucket that they scored. This led to some wildly inefficient performances from key players on both sides. Chauncey Billups shot just 43% from the field and 29% from 3. Rip Hamilton shot 38% from the field and 16% from 3. And Tim Duncan, the Finals MVP, shot just 41% from the field. Both Detroit and San Antonio had capable talent and great game plans on the defensive end, which made it extremely difficult for star players to get any sort of rhythm. And then there's Manu Ginobili, who was the second leading scorer for the Spurs while shooting nearly 50% from the field and 40% from deep. The same defense that shut Kobe Bryant down in the finals a year prior was no match for Manu, who the Pistons just simply could not figure out. Game 7 was a perfect example of the brilliance of Ginobili during the series. By the 7th game of the NBA Finals, everybody was understandably out of gas and running on fumes, which led to another low-scoring dogfight. The only player who was unfazed by the fatigue and defense yet again was Manu, who scored 23 of his team's 81 points on 61% shooting and closed out the game with 11 points in the fourth quarter. Tim Duncan may have walked away with the Finals MVP for his rebounding, defense, and scoring volume, but Ginobili was the only one who was truly able to break down that incredible Pistons defense, which is another great achievement in his highly underrated career. And that's all I have for you guys today. If you guys like this concept, leave a like and I'll do a part 2. Let me know if I missed any other great Robin performances in the finals, and I'll see you guys next time.